So Sony has revealed the PlayStation Now subscription service, which PS Now is where you can stream games through your internet. So previously you could only rent games, and then there was an outcry because of how expensive the games were to rent. So a lot of people said, look, we want a subscription service, sort of like Netflix. So Sony has responded, and here are the details. So the PS Now rental service has over 200 plus games that you can currently rent. The PS Now subscription service is only going to give you 100 plus games from the PS3 starting out. So you're not getting access to every game that is on the rental service. For 1 month of access, it's going to cost you $20 a month. Or you can get 3 months for $45, which if you break it down, that ends up being around $15 a month for the cheapest package. Now, currently, there are no plans to give any PS Plus members a discount. And there are no plans to offer a 1-year subscription either. Now, they do say they plan on eventually bringing PS1 and PS2 games to the service, but right now they are working on bringing over the PS3 library. They do say the library for the subscription service is going to, quote, evolve. So we don't really know what that means at this point, if they're going to rotate titles out, or if every game that's currently available is always going to be available and that list is only going to get larger. We honestly don't know at this point, but they do say new titles will be added monthly. So for 20 bucks a month, if I'm out shopping and I see this deal, I say no deal. To me, this is kind of expensive. Simply looking at what you're currently getting, the current setup, the current games that are listed, I just don't think it's a good price. Now, a lot of people are going to say, you know, how else can you get 100 plus games for only 20 bucks? But, I mean, for me, it's quality over quantity. You could have a ton more games. And, you know, if none of the games are games that I really care to play, that does nothing for me. You could have 1,000 games. I don't care how many numbers you come up with. I want to play games that I want to play. And currently, there aren't enough big titles mixed in to this platform. Now, that's just from a personal standpoint. And I also have limited time. When I sit down to get to play games, I'm not really that interested and going back and playing old games I missed out on. You know, if I missed out on them, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with moving forward and picking up some of the newer titles that are coming out and playing, you know, what everybody else is playing at the moment. That's not to diss anybody who likes going back and playing old games. I'm just telling you, my time's limited. I want to play newer stuff as it is right now. I have no desire to go back and play games on the last generation console. If I missed it, I missed it. Oh well. If you're looking at a PS Plus subscription, you know, and you get this, and you paid for like a year of it, you're looking at $180 on top of your subscription service just to play these games. And that's if you went with like the cheapest package by buying it in 3-month little bundles. If you went and paid for it by month, you would spend $240 a year on this service by paying for it by month. And so that's why whenever you add it up, I just don't see how this is really that great of a deal. There are some pros to the service, of course. If you want to binge out on some games that you haven't played, you want to get a ton of games all at one time, then you just pay up $20 and then you have access to a bunch of games for a month. So, you know, if it's a weak month and not a lot of games are coming out, you might go for it. And this is probably a service where they expect people to do that, you know. They're not expecting people probably to sign up for a full year. But also, one thing to note is that you can also save your progress on the cloud. So if you do sign up 1 month, play some games, then let your subscription expire, then sign up a few months later, your saves are still there in the cloud. And then you can also get trophies still. And then you also have the convenience of not downloading any games, and you'll eventually be able to play these games on multiple devices besides the PS4. And you know, this service is also really marketed at those people who don't have a PS4. You know, Sony just announced that they've got a deal with Samsung now to bring this service onto those TVs. So, I mean, you don't even need a PlayStation 4 to get this service. So Sony is trying to maximize the number of people that it can bring in to its subscription service. And PlayStation and Sony have been saying for a long time that their new focus going forward was, quote, services for income. And I've told you before that services is a code word for subscriptions. So the cons to the service are, one, limited games. Currently, it's all old games. You got poor resolution, and you've got input lag. And then, of course, the cost is also a con. But I will say this, because I think there is a bit of hypocrisy that needs to be pointed out by Sony. And that is, a few weeks ago, I told you that EA went and talked to Sony. They presented the EA access and asked Sony if they would want to deliver that to their customers. And Sony came out and said flat out, no, we don't want EA access on the PlayStation. Now, they said that it was because they didn't feel this deal was good for their consumers. So they tried to play it up as, hey, we're just looking out for the little guy. But currently, EA Access is only $5 a month, or only $30 a year. And it gives you 10% discount on games, which a lot of people buy EA games, whether you like them or not. And it gives you early access to all EA games that's coming out, so you actually get to play them before they actually hit store shelves. And you get a growing library of newer games from EA for free. Now, whether you like them or not, a lot of those games are AAA games. And if you compare the type of AAA games that's in this other package, it's really not that far off. But regardless of whether you think it's a good deal, a lot of people do think it's a good deal, and a lot of people are subscribing to it. EA has said it's been very successful. But for Sony to come out and say that they denied them simply to take care of the good guy, and then to release their subscription service that is almost as much as a full year of EA Access, and to say that their deal is good but EA Access is bad, I don't see how they can look you straight in the face and say that. Obviously, the deal was put in place so Sony could keep a monopoly on the subscription services on the PlayStation 4, so they can only give their customers one choice, and it would be Sony's choice. So if you want to pay to get all these games, currently you're going to go through Sony. So my point is, if you think the Sony deal is good, then I don't see how you can say the EA deal is bad. And you don't even need Xbox Live Gold to access EA Access. So, you know, some people are going to compare this to GameFly, which is around $15 a month, but, you know, you're talking about brand new games that you're getting access there, and you can also get it on multiple platforms. So there's really nothing else that you can directly compare it to. But either way, I'd say that it's better to have more choices than none. So I'm glad Sony at least put it out there that you've got a choice. At least PlayStation players have a choice. Nobody's forcing you to get it. No one's forcing you to get EA Access. But I do think for the consumer, you want as many possibilities as possible. So post below, let me know, do you think PS Plus is too expensive in its current form at $20 a month, or $15 a month if you buy it 3 months at a time? How much would you be willing to pay? We've got a poll up on VGN you can go take. Stay right here to this channel and to VGN, and follow my Twitter for breaking news. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.